June 25th, 1983, Lord's Cricket Ground. London's sky hung heavy with clouds, but over a distant land, a billion souls looked up with hope in their hearts and cricket in their blood. Two teams stepped onto the field. One, the mighty West Indies, unbeaten, feared, full of legends. The other, Team India, young, unknown, written off. But what happened that day was more than just a match. It was a moment that shook the world. Because when India lifted that trophy, they didn't just win a cup. They found their roar, and the world had no choice but to listen. The earliest Indian cricketers, those who played before the spotlight, were the roots. They stood tall through hard times, through silence, struggle, and little recognition. From those roots grew a spark. A young boy from Bombay, fearless and full of magic. Sachin Tendulkar, the sprout. He didn't just bat, he made the world believe. And from him came the branches. Players of a new era, calm, fiery, bold, brilliant. They carried the dreams of a billion people. They played for pride and for the ones who came before. Some have lifted trophies. Some are still playing in dusty lanes with tennis balls. But they all grew from that one afternoon at Lord's. 1983 didn't just change cricket. It changed what India believed it could be. It gave the country heroes. It gave children permission to dream. And that roar from 1983 still echoes today, in every street game, in every stadium cheer, in every child who dares to pick up a bat, because that day, India's roots reached the sky. The other, a dynasty shaken. The West Indies, rulers of the game, took their first real fall, and the slow unraveling began. One game, two legacies, one empire beginning its descent, another building the foundation of a future empire. "1932, Lord's, India plays its first test. They lose, and for 20 years, they never win, not even once. Before India lifted the World Cup, it carried weight, a century's worth of it, not of trophies, but of taunts. In 1952, they finally do, at home, against a tired England. The crowd cheers, but the world shrugs. In 1971, something flickers. They beat West Indies and England. A momentary sunrise, but it fades.
Shot at the end there.
Thanks, I wasn't sure it would clear the ropes.
We certainly celebrated like it did.
Then comes 1974. England crushes India 3-0. At Lord's, India collapses for 42 runs. The press calls it the summer of shame. Everywhere they went, they were doubted. In New Zealand, called lucky. In the Caribbean, called soft. At home, called disappointing. This wasn't just cricket. It was class, language, power. India's teams flew overseas without coaches, without physios, sometimes without kits. In 1971, they arrived in Jamaica for a tour. No pads, no gloves, no gear. 16 kit bags sat abandoned at Kingston Airport. That was Indian cricket. From 1932 to 1982, India played 196 test matches. They won just 35 inches. And in one-day internationals, worse. They played 13 in the 70s, won 2, one of them against East Africa. In 1975, Gavaskar faces 174 balls, scores just 36. The crowd booed. India walked off to silence. But what they didn't know was that behind that quiet bat lay the foundation of something far louder. They booed his 36, but in truth, he faced 174 storms so the next generation could walk out into sunshine. He showed a generation how to survive before anyone believed we could win. In 1979, they lost to Sri Lanka. Not a full member, not even a test team. Imagine the early days, when playing for India wasn't about endorsements or TV deals, it was about sacrifice. Players packed their own bags, boarded crowded trains, traveled for days, just to play one match. No fancy hotels, no media glare, but in their minds, just one mission: to serve India. Sometimes not even proper cricket gear. The Indian team was the underdog, always. They faced giants like England and Australia, teams with polished shoes, turf grounds, and five-star setups. India came with grit, not glamour. They didn't play for fame. They played because the tricolor deserved to fly higher. Back home, cricket was a rich man's hobby, a colonial echo, played in clubhouses, watched by few, understood by fewer. In the streets of Kanpur, Coimbatore, most children didn't even know the rules. No coaching camps, no heroes, no dreams tied to willow and leather. When India traveled abroad, they weren't feared. They weren't followed. They were tolerated. Foreign press didn't bother with their names. Organizers gave them third-rate rooms. Crowds came for the opposition. They were the filler act, the polite guests. The team expected to lose respectfully. And yet, inside those boys in blue, burned something unseen, a hunger that no one wrote headlines about. Then came Lord's, 1983. Kapil's men stood up. With every wicket, they silenced doubt. With every run, they rewrote history. With every frame, a billion hearts awakened. That win gave us more than a trophy. It gave us cricket. It gave us pride. Until that day, kids didn't dream of cricket. They dreamed of stability, of government jobs, of being safe. But after Lord's, they dreamed of stadiums, of jerseys, of playing for India. Of one day, lifting trophies high, not for themselves, but for the nation watching with a billion hearts.
Yes, I got the bat. I have the ball. Let's play!
From tea stalls to train platforms, a single sentence echoed, "We beat the West Indies." And suddenly, as if cricket wasn't borrowed anymore, it belonged to us.
Go on, hit it! Yes! Brilliant shot!